All right, we live. My proud family, welcome to another episode of Knowledge Radio. Place for Knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Live. We got hip hop royalty, hip hop pioneers, a motivation towards a vanguard of a culture that belongs to the original people. One who has sojourned through the trenches, with crossed and burning sands and all of that
All
to
right.
give us an iconic hip hop anthology and a blueprint of success in regards to keeping your wits about you navigating through that treacherous water called the industry. So let me bring
Indeed.
on the man, the myth, the legend, and the true and living God, one of our greats, Sadat X in the building.
Peace. Peace. I'm here. No question. I'm in the building.
How you feeling, Lord?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm getting ready. I'm not up too late these days because I'm working. So, I gotta be at the justice real early. So, I'm
Right,
getting it in, but I'm all right though. I'm still doing my music. I'm staying mentally fit, physically fit. So, I feel good.
right, right. So, like, how you and your loved ones been kind of navigating through this whole pandemic type situation?
Well, basically, we just been staying, around the foundation, staying safe, not too much crowd gathering, as they say, but I'm not like a crowd person like that at this point in the stage anyway. And just basically been going about how I naturally do. I'm definitely being more, being that I do work in a hospital, you understand, being more, I guess a little more health conscious wise, but other than that, man, just staying on the square.
That's peace. That's peace. You had a lot of a very multifaceted type of career. You see what I'm saying? You work with a lot of people. You know, a lot of things going on. So initially, for you, uh, you and the group, coming together. What's kind of some of the stories you could tell us about, the early years coming together, and the importance of hip hop? Because hip hop kind of started and was, given to us in the mainstream as a
Yeah.
group. You understand what I'm saying? So, what was that like in the early days for you all coming together as a group?
Ah man, well, like I said, we was there, sort of at that beginning era. Not at the very beginning era, but afterwards, I still was able to bear witness to the outside parties, you understand, to some of the pioneers that didn't get a chance to get on record. And basically just was able to hone my craft. This was in New Rochelle at the time. It was myself, Lord Jamar lived up there, and Alamo. And, Pooh Bah was already in the group. He was already an established artist with Masters of Ceremony, and he took kind of a liking to me and Jamar, and he would actually produce us in the studio, and gave us a chance to make some music. But see, the thing that we did that a lot is lost nowadays is that we actually had to apprentice. It was days I used to go to the studio and just watch, do the knowledge. You understand? Knowledge, wisdom, understand. You understand? So I had to do the knowledge. I had to actually watch what was going on. You know what I'm saying? I observed things. I observed, but damn, this rapper, he broke these verses down. He had to break them down. He couldn't just rhyme continuously. See, that's what Pooh used to tell me. He used to be like, yo, it's fine and everything, but you got to break that down. So I learned how to count bars, learn how to make choruses, and just learn the total nuances of being in the studio. So when it was my chance, because God always told me, listen, when it's your chance to do what you do, make it count. Your first impression is your last impression. So that taught me to always be ready.
That's real. That's real. So for younger artists coming in now, like, how do you kind of see the landscape of hip hop from, when you was a young artist coming into, fast forward, generations later?
All right. Well, if you do the knowledge to all forms of music, you got classical music that has compositions by Chopin, Beethoven, Amadeus. Those people, those are 400 years old. You have other forms of music that's been around. So rap is still breaking out of its infancy. Rap, as we know it, has a life right now of about 50 years. So you got a lot of chambers that's still being developed. You got an old school chamber, you got a mid old school chamber, and you got these new kids coming up. Now, it is what it is. They're coming up, but as far as when I came up, it was certain things that you had to do, being that we didn't have the resources that they had. So if you actually got a chance to touch the mic, you had to be nice. You didn't have a home studio where you could create a persona and be who you wanted to be. You had to be out in front, and if you didn't stand on your square from the front, you might not ever see the mic again. Somebody would be like, turn his microphone on. You understand? Whereas I work at a job with a lot of young boys, a lot of rappers, and I tell them, I say, see, y'all can actually make a song at the crib about anything you want to make it about, say whatever you want to say, record yourself, do a video, and gas yourself into believing that. And that's where a lot of these young boys run into problems. You understand? Because they used to not being checked and held accountable. See, back when I was coming up, you had to be accountable for today's math. You had to be accountable for different things. So that built up a mental discipline. So a lot of situations you didn't go into crazy because you knew you had to be on your square. You knew when you went to do an interview or do something around somebody in the studio, it might be some people there that know something. There might be some of the guards. I can't come in there slipping and sliding off some pills and my mental not be as where it should be. I had to be on point. And that's a lot of the difference today. Like the young boys, they're gonna have to live and learn. Like I tell a lot of people, they had the technology. We didn't have the technology. So, I guess they doing what they have to do with it. But a lot of times, not all, but a lot of the youth, they being misguided in this.
So how would you say that knowledge itself kind of helped you navigate? Because we got the four devils out here. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that could
Hmm.
that could take many forms. So how would you say for you, maintaining longevity, one, in this arena, with the ups and downs and everything, how did knowledge itself kind of aid you in that regard?
Well, it first of all, it gave you a mental discipline. It gave you a discipline where you had to actually know things, believe in it, and then show it beyond a shadow of a doubt. You understand? So it gave you a mind discipline. Then it gave you a sense of well being. It gave you knew who you were. You understand? You knew that this is God, the supreme being black man. So now I know who I am. So now I know the purpose of what I got to do. So a lot of things that I see these people doing in the street or doing here and there, the supreme black man wouldn't do that. You understand? It gave you a clear cut path how to live life.
So what was your through line into the culture? Like, how did you come into the culture and knowledge itself?
Well, I came into the culture knowledge itself being basically around Jamal, the guards in our rule, the guard K-Born, you know what I'm saying? I came into it by being around them. I had to be right and exact. You understand? I couldn't be around them in no other way. And when I was around them, I saw that my mental was better. I knew what I was doing. I was more focused, and this was what I wanted to do.
Okay. Okay. So Brand Nubian hit us with, you know, the basic instructions before leaving Earth type of vibe. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that. You bought a lot and made a lot seen heard everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, in that, you know, was there a point to where, have things evolved in from what you learned, as life has, happened and things like that. You know what I mean? Like where are you now in that regard? Do you still
Okay.
hold true to a lot of them stances or
Oh yeah. Well, I still carried over. Like I said, like when we first set out did that album, people got to understand. Like a lot of you get a lot of stories of groups that was together for years before they was actually able to get a deal. Basically, what it was is like I said, the guard Puba Haji was producing me, and then there was Lord Jamal and myself, and we happened to make a couple of tracks together. We was at the studio in the Bronx, and Jazzy J threw a couple of beats our way, and we actually rhymed all together on it, and it sounded good. And Puba took it downtown, and we had a deal within a couple of months. So it wasn't like a long knocking on people's doors and doing this. Within a couple of months, we had a deal. So when we was recording the album, we just was recording life. Like we didn't go into it. We didn't even go into it with a plan. Like these songs were songs that came out. We get to the studio, loop something up, and how we was dealing upon the day. That's what came out. You understand? This came out pure naturally. It wasn't like we sat down and said, okay, we got to go from this formula to this formula to this formula. We just let it come out naturally.
So now you transition from group projects, and what was the catalyst for the solo projects? Were you the
Well,
first one or the Fuba? I
um,
know
well,
Black.
yeah, well, Pooh he did a project. What it was is we was together for a while, and I'm not gonna lie, as brothers, sometimes you got your brothers. Sometimes y'all fight and y'all don't get along. It was never a loss for of love or anything like that, but brothers felt that they had to do what they had to do. Pooh he was already basically a solo artist, so he went to pursue what he was pursuing, like what he was previously trying to pursue as a solo artist. And me and Jamal, he gave us the blueprint and we just kept it going from there. We came up with the punks, this and that, and then after that, I chose to do a lot of things. Being that I was originally from the Bronx, still had a strong Bronx back in DITC, digging in the crates crew. Good friends with Showbiz, Diamond D, my man for like 30 years. AG was over there in the P's over there on that side, Patterson Projects, and basically, I let that side come out. You know what I'm saying? That was the Wild Cowboys, a solo deal, solo album. We came back together again, made Foundation, made a couple of albums on Baby Grand, and then everybody has pursued basically their solo careers again. Uh, Hopefully, we'll be into the phase of going back to Brand Nubian. As myself, I stay in the studio. I stay in the studio because I still love it. I still love to rhyme. I still love the beat. So, that's my motivating factor of me still being around because basically I still love the rap.
So how does the hunger continue? What could you say? Over a couple of decades. Uh, are you inspired by what you see, or just you mentioned your love. You understand what I'm saying? So are you? What make you still like that grit? You understand what I'm saying? Like that grit.
I got you. Well, what makes me still have that grit is when I hear somebody come out with a rugged beat, and I be like, "Damn, yo, I wish I could have rhymed on that." You understand? It's the beats still drive me. You understand? And knowing my lane. You know what I'm saying? I know my lane is gonna be different from a younger person's lane, and see that's where a lot of sometimes the older artists, you know, uh, fall out with the younger artists. Sure, the younger artists are supposed to give you respect, but you got to make some music for them to respect. You just can't go in there and make some bullshit and expect everybody to love it just because you are who you are. You understand? And then with the youth, I tell them like, listen, sometimes take the jewel, take the jewel. Sometimes the jewel will save you. I be telling dudes a lot of times like when you go out of town to certain places, how it's set up. If you check in with some of the local boys there, this and that, that's not being a sucker. That's just helping you might not get your head knocked off. That's just the natural progression of things, man. And when I came up, I gave everybody at first the universal greeting, peace. If you if you took my piece and turned it into aggression, that's where we fell out. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these young boys, they go places, they see people, they don't say peace, they don't say what's up to nobody, they go in and out and do what they do. And I'm like, nah, a lot of time most people on the street want to see how you react. You understand? So when you react in a certain way, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get the love back. Like I'm in here in Raleigh, down here in Raleigh. I done been to places in the hood off of Pool Road, New Bern. And if you see the brothers outside, some of them might know who you are, some of them might not. But sometimes, peace. How y'all doing, fellas? Y'all good? Yeah, we good. Sometimes I work a long way as opposed to going in. Y'all looking at each other. Somebody's supposed to say something, and now this aggression is built up against each other. Nah, man. That's why I always for me personally, have able to go anywhere, to Raleigh, to DC, to Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx. I ain't never really had no problems.
That's love. If you could think of like two or three beats that you heard that you really was like, damn, I wish I would have had that joint right there. I would have killed. What could you
Um,
say?
Definitely it was one of Big Daddy's beats, probably Raw. Because when I heard Raw, I was like, oh man, I could have killed that. And maybe because I'm such a fan of these guys, Cool G Rap, Road to the Riches, or something like that. Because to me, like G Rap is one of the blueprints that I went off of. G Rap, Kane, Grandmaster Caz, like I loved all them dudes. See, that's what I tell the young boys. I loved all them dudes. I loved their style and this and that, but I didn't want to be them. But I wanted to put myself in a place among them. You know what I'm saying? Where nowadays, I asked one of the young boys, I said, why you want to rhyme, man? He said, because I want to get me a car and some jewelry and some girls. I said, see, you in it for the wrong reason, man. And you may last for a minute, but usually that gets weeded out. After a while that gets weeded out, and then you'll see who's around for the long run.
That's real. No, you did some serious classic collabs too. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Outside of the group, um, if you would look at a few moments for yourself, whether it's with the group or whether on your solo journey, some defining moments for your career.
Oh man, final moment of my career is collabing with Big in the studio, making "Come On, Motherfuckers." I got a call from Puff and them. I knew Puff from growing up. He Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, right next to each other. He said, "I got an artist, Big." He had made Party and Bullshit, and he was like, "Yo, Big is a big fan of you, son. Like, he wants you to get on the joint." Just going to the studio and watching his process of finessing the original beat. That's the one I go by. Um, just watching the process of me writing my rhymes down, getting it together. Whereas watching Big, and Big is just mumbling to himself and putting pieces together, nothing written down, and goes into the booth and does it. You understand? That was a joint. Another thing that impressed me one time is I did a joint with Jay-Z and Uncle Murder where I did the chorus. And just flying, like Jay had the studio set up with the Neptunes down there in Virginia Beach. They had the whole studio locked out. And just the process of me flying with Jay from Teterboro in New Jersey on the G5, whatever thing that was, flying down there, getting to the Neptune studio. He got all 5 room books, and he's doing all different songs in each room, going back from room to room to room, putting it down on each one, and just the thought process and the drive and the business acumen that he had. I already knew that he was. I was like, yeah, Jay, he gonna blow. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that, definitely.
Okay. How did that um like the short documentary come about? What was the joint um, that we saw that kind of told y'all story together? Like, how did y'all get
Oh,
hooked
the
up with that?
unsung joint.
Yeah, the unsung joint.
Yeah, man, that was good, man. It was good for us to do unsung, and we wanted to do it in the thing of like, if you notice, you look at a lot of unsungs, and at the end, the dudes is all bitter. They not really doing nothing no more. They may have 2 groups splintered off, running under the same name, having copyright infringements, and just being in bad health and disrepair. We wanted to show, like, hey, man, we did what we did. We broke up, we came back together, we doing our own thing, but we still good. You know what I'm saying? We still the gods, we still shining like we supposed to be. That's like our natural right, like that's how we supposed to be. And just let people see, like, nah, it's nothing broke down here. We still up and running. So that was good for people to see that.
No into orientations, huh?
Definitely, man. Like, done a lot of things, man. Like I tell them, man, like, we still up and running. I've taught, you know what I'm saying? I've toured extensively all over the Europe, anywhere out there you can name. Uh, if this pandemic thing wouldn't been going down, I had a teaching thing that I was supposed to do in Nepal. And people ask me where Nepal is, and I tell them, if you ever seen The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy,
Mm,
that's where Nepal is. So I got a
right.
teaching thing lined up there. Hopefully this COVID thing will go blow through in a year or two. Still got dates lined up in Europe. See, and I tell people, man, it's a way to get in this game and still get your dollar and still do what you do, man. You just got to know how to do the knowledge to it. Don't burn down no bridges. You ain't got to be a sucker, but you after a while, I definitely learned to observe. You understand? I've observed many things and know where my lane is and how to go get it.
Now you brought your expertise and your talents to the classroom as well. What was that like for you?
Oh man, well that was good, man, because I was in Brooklyn and I was in the hood and I was teaching hip hop. And see, the challenge was I had to come up with a curriculum that would that would pique these kids' interest. Like I just couldn't come in there screaming old school and beating them over the head with that. You understand? Dudes was telling me, yo, you got to come in and you make them learn what you want to learn. No, 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 no. Not with these kids. See, it's like when you give a baby too much food, he regurgitates it, he spits it up, he rebels from it. So I had to make it attractive to these kids. So I had to do comparisons and different things where we might do a day spent on Kendrick Lamar and the next part of the day spent on KRS-One, or do the Future and Rakim. You know what I'm saying? Do the Migos and Tribe Called Quest. You know what I'm saying? So I had to break it down so it was always a parallel to it was always where you see this 3-man crew y'all got. Well, we had this 3-man crew, and this is how they did. And they be like, yeah, Mr. Murphy. Be like, now listen, you hear a lot of this stuff in this rap. Now you think if this man did all these things, he'd still be running around in these streets? Got a point there, Mr. Murphy. And see, another thing what was good about where I taught that is I taught in the hood. So a lot of these kids, I already knew their parents. You understand? So a lot of the stuff that they would try to do on the other teachers, they already knew they couldn't do that with me. I used to have to tell them, yo, my man, sit down. You already know I know your father. I've been in your crib with you there. So you already know. And they'd be like, yeah, you right, Mr. Murphy. Be like, am I? And like some days with the kids, we'll have a bad day, a terrible day. Sometimes me and one of the kids, we might go at it. But at the end of the day, I would always stop them and be like, yo, we had a bad day today, yo. We had a terrible day. But you know what? I think tomorrow we can do something better. So I'm gonna give you some love. You're gonna give me a pound, and tomorrow we're gonna come in and we're gonna race today, and we'll start new tomorrow. And that used to work for me.
That's peace right there. That's a relatable experience that's sorely missing in the education system. Like
Yeah. And
our
see, a lot
teachers
of
grew
times,
up, they lived in our neighborhood.
yeah,
We was walking to school. My teacher ride by like, "You better beat me to school." They
yeah.
driving, saying, "You better beat me to school, or
I
you
used
better
to
not
see
be
them all
late."
the
You
time.
understand what I'm saying?
Man, I used
Yeah,
to be out some nights and driving and be like, yo, what are you doing? Let's go. Come on, man. You going to the crib, man. It's too late for you to be outside. Let's go. You understand? Let's go. And if they let you back out from there, that's nothing. But if I see you out this late every single time, you gonna go on home. And it was hard. A lot of the teachers at the school, a lot of the lot of the white teachers, a lot of teachers that didn't live in the area. I used to have to break it down to them. One day I flipped. I was like, look, I see y'all. A lot of y'all looking at your watches. You waiting for 3:30, 4 o'clock to come so you can get in your car and burst up out of here. See, I got to see these kids. You understand? And that's the reason. And a lot of these kids, I understand you, baby Mr. Murphy, you hard on them. Yeah, I'm hard on them. I'm especially hard on the young kings because I already know what they're going to face. You understand? That's why I'm hard on them. That's why I talk to them in the language that I talk to them so they'll understand. You see, in my class, they don't act the same way that they act in your class. You understand? Because I tell them straight up, yo, man, that's some bullshit you're doing. It's some straight bullshit. You know it, and I know it. Sit down. Boom. As opposed to you trying to baby this dude and he running around all while. Oh, nah. Like a lot of times they come in, my man, you're not prepared. You have to go. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. If you're in the hallway, you get yourself together and you prepared to come in. Like I need you to come in, you come in. If not, go on down to the office. And we'll do this every day and if you want to bring one of your parents in, bring them in. Because then that way, a lot of times I would see where the aggression or where some of the attitude or where some of the slip up from. Because if they're not getting it at the foundation at home, you know what I'm saying? Then I'd be like, okay, now I know why this kid is like this. because his people ain't got the knowledge of themselves. You understand what I'm saying?
That's real. That's real. So, we're gonna wrap up here. So if you got any
All right.
final thoughts and also any shout outs where people can reach you. I know you said you're still in the studio, so if cats
Yeah.
want to feature, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
let
no doubt. I'm
everybody
gonna give it
know
all,
all of
definitely.
that. Give them all that.
Well, first off, I want to give a shout out to Do the Knowledge Radio. You understand? Second of all, I want to give a shout out to all the gods in the earth, of the planet Earth. Know and understand that this is the wilderness. Teach the babies because they are the understanding, which is the best part because they show and prove infinity in God's cipher. They keep the cipher going. So they are the best part. Also, you can reach me on Instagram, Sadat X. You understand? It's me on there. I handle everything. Any features on there, DM me. Any knowledge you may need from me, because that's the way we got. That's how we used to be. If somebody didn't know that, you got the knowledge from a brother who did, and it wasn't no thing about him trying to keep the secret. It was about bettering our community, bettering the cipher. So you need anything from me, DM me, and if I can help you, I'll help you. And if not, if I can direct you to somebody else, I ain't got no problem doing that either. I'll tell you, listen, I don't really know that brother, but I do know a brother who does. Holler at him, tell him I said to hit you, and we can take it from there. Sadat X on IG. That's what it is.
Word. So we'll be looking. Tell the family will be looking forward to a part two. We get a chance to do this,
Oh
and
yeah,
in the physical. You understand what I'm saying?
definitely.
So
That's
thank
how
you
we
for
gonna
your
do it.
time.
We gonna wrap it up with the part two. That's coming
Right.
real soon. And like I said, peace out. Do the Knowledge Radio.
All right. Peace, Almighty.
Peace, God.